So my topic is really fun. What's next for urban Philadelphia? Urban heat. It's going to get hot, and this is real, and this is a very big deal. People, the built environment, climate, we've all been kind of dancing around each other badly for forever, and we're going to dance poorly as we go ahead. So let's look forward by looking back. This past summer was super, super, super hot. It impacted what you did, who you saw, where you went. And if you had air conditioning, there might have been days where you did not go outside. Like, that's a big deal. You did not go outside. And if you didn't have air conditioning, you maybe had to get creative. And we're all going to have to get more creative because it's going to get hotter. We're going to learn about danger days. Danger days are when it's going to feel like 105 degrees or more. We have like one a year now. We're going to have 40. What's Philadelphia going to be like if it feels like Houston? And this has tremendous impacts, particularly for people who have been intentionally harmed by generations of racism. Former red line communities are now at the front lines of urban heat. And these are neighborhoods that can feel 5, 10, 15 degrees hotter than neighborhoods a few blocks away. This is the front lines of urban heat. This is the #1 killer of climate change. And it has tremendous impacts. It creates and worsens health challenges across the board. Emphysema, kidney challenges, skin challenges, preterm births, joint issues, cardiovascular challenges. These are all tremendous issues that get exacerbated with high temperatures of heat. We see tremendous challenges particular to youth. Cumulative heat has an impact on cognitive development. Rising temperatures are associated with falling test scores. So the future workforce is having a harder time learning because of heat. Like, that matters. We also see spikes in youth aggression when heat sets on. And then when you think about heat, more costs. Costs for individuals when it comes to cooling costs, maintaining their home. We talk a lot now about the housing burden and the portion of your income that goes to rent or mortgage. We're going to be talking about the energy burden in Philadelphia of the future. And it's important to note that there are cities across the globe that are looking to create some solutions to this. In Paris, for example, there's a network of cooling assets like pools and shaded areas and parks interconnected. In Medellin, they have shaded corridors that provide safer, cooler ways for people to bike around and walk around. They concentrate this in low-income communities. And we see emerging solutions in Philadelphia as well. We're a national leader in splash pads. You've seen them around at our parks and rec centers. More and more we hear about community groups that just want benches. It's a simple thing, but it can be a big deal when it comes to surviving a hot day. And we see more experimentation on cooling your home with such things as vegetated awnings. More of that to come. Parks are an enormous superpower when it comes to cooling. They cool the air on site, and then that air serves the surrounding neighborhood, cooling it as well. We've got pretty good park access in Philadelphia, but when you look at our poorest communities, they have about half the park space that we see in our whiter, wealthier neighborhoods. What we look to do also is to increase the weight class of our assets that can help to cool. We've got parks that can do more by adding more greenery, adding more functionality. We've got a lot of spaces that are doing very little good for anybody that can do a lot more good, like schoolyards, and we work to transform them into high-quality parks and play spaces. But at the end of the day, what we know is that the value of these solutions is only going to be provided when we have a shared and greater understanding of the lived experiences of urban heat. And climate conversations historically have sought to talk about icebergs more than urban neighborhoods. We need to shift that. That's why we've created Heat Response. Heat Response is an initiative that combines community engagement, public art, climate advocacy, where we have intentional conversations across the city to simply hear the lived experiences of people on the front lines of urban heat. We are focusing that work in 3 neighborhoods in Philadelphia that have the highest extent of urban heat that we see across the city. We're working in Fairhill, where we've paired an artist with the community leads there. The community leads bring in other residents, other community groups to be part of the conversation. In Grays Ferry, we're working with Jenna Robb to host conversations there. And then in Southeast Philly, we're working with the artist Jose Ortiz-Pagan. This has all happened during COVID. So our engagement has had to be pretty creative. Our lead artist invented this treesicle where you can pedal up a tree, have some shady spot, and a mobile opportunity to have a conversation about urban heat. Later on, this will double as a mobile movie theater where we can showcase stories that we collect throughout this initiative. In Fairhill, there's great importance in engaging young people. We've developed a coloring book that enables people to color Galena the Willow, who's a super hero whose power is that she can cool the neighborhood. They draw their neighborhood, they map where they go to stay cool. Very important information to know about for a variety of people. In Gray's Ferry, we have a postcard exchange where young people are sending questions to people living in a senior facility about how they deal with urban heat. The older people respond, the young people draw that, and that again becomes this great information source that we can put to use in creating solutions. And it is, gotta wait. So it's very important that many different people with expertise get access to this information. This is very valuable information. We have a great advisory team made up of different city agencies, nonprofits, who can all listen for different things in sustainability, public health, or social services. And what we also know at the end of the day is that the key solution to urban heat is that people simply know one another. Our parks and our open spaces are key platforms where neighbors can learn more about each other, share information, and find new ways to work together. And one of our community leads shared that sharing information is an act of love, and we certainly believe that. When we ask what can you do locally, I'll offer a few different things. One, urge Congress to pass the Parks, Jobs, and Equity Act. It could provide tremendous support for parks and open space. Advocate locally for green schoolyards and parks, and then perhaps most complicated, just get to know your neighbors. Learn what they need, learn how they can help you. A connected community is a resilient community. Thank you.